Hey guys, this is Bobby for the GM Table, and I'm doing something I haven't actually gotten to do in a few months. A book review. So, what am I covering? I'm going to be covering the Acquisitions Incorporated book for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Yeah, it's not a Savage Worlds review. I got those coming, but with Suede coming out, all of that, so many settings are updating, so many settings are in Kickstarter. It's been kind of a dead zone there. So instead I wanted to talk about this little gem, because here's the thing. I've seen several reviews pop up, and some of them by people I know in the community that are more or less saying, look, if you're not already a fan of Acquisitions Incorporated, this book isn't really for you. And I completely disagree. This is going to be one of the most used books for me for a while, and I want to tell you why. Alright, before any of that, I do want to cut to the chase of the fact that if you hate Acquisitions Incorporated for some reason, if you really dislike humor in your game, and that kind of fluff in a book annoys you, yes, you won't enjoy this book. Because all of the flavor is Acquisitions Incorporated. This book is basically dedicated to a campaign where you and the rest of your party are running a franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated. And if you take the book completely at face value, it's easy to think this book's only for working for Acquisitions Incorporated. But here's the thing. If you file the serial numbers off of how you manage your franchise, how you manage your home base, this is the rules for being nobility and having strongholds and building up followers. This is the rules for starting a guild. This actually works even better for a guild because a franchisee holder is basically the local guild hall to a bigger guild. It's the exact same. Now, yes, you may not want to use the kind of company roles in Acquisitions Incorporated, which when I first heard about them, I thought, oh, maybe they're classes. No, these go on top of your classes, on top of your backgrounds, all of that. This is in addition to. So if you don't want to use it, no big deal. As long as you're okay with a little level of humor, like someone being an occultant, which is the occult accountant, or a documancer who knows the magic of doing documents and paperwork. Those don't have to be Acquisitions Incorporated. Yeah, in the book it says, you got this item from Acquisitions Incorporated. You can just as easily get the magic items you get for those roles from your guild, or gifted by the Duke who made you nobility in his outer fringe. It's all still doable. And the biggest thing is your franchise has 4 ranks based on the tiers of play. But this is just as easily the rank of your guild presence in the region, the rank of how much land you control as nobility. And those ranks are based off of the tiers of play. So levels 1 through 4, 1 through 5 is rank 1. Once you go up to 5 through 10, you're rank 2. They're not based directly on character level, they're based off tiers of play. And with those, each rank gives you a few really interesting things. You always start with a home base. And at rank 1, the home base is run down no matter what it is, but there's a lot of options in there even with that. Again, they call it a franchise, but these rules, even within them, just take Acquisitions Incorporated and the word franchise off of them, have stuff for what if you want your character's home base to be kind of a gypsy wagon? What if they want to run a tavern? You can actually perfectly incorporate this in with the tavern from Dragon Heist. Very, very easy. That's actually what I'm about to do tomorrow. You can just as easily go, what if they have a keep or a castle? Because they have the costs of those in here. And at each rank, you have a cost multiplier because the cost of upkeep is based on the type of home base you have. And they do get even more fantastical, like you can get airships, you can get walking statues. But you can also just take the mundane stuff if you want a more mundane game. It's just a big list. You pick what's off the list anyways. So as you go up in rank, your costs go up. It might sound weird, but things like your lifestyle go up, and more importantly, your staff goes up, which is how many untrained hirelings you have, how many skilled hirelings you have, and starting at rank 2, how big of a crew you have. And this isn't just, oh, you're on a ship, you have a crew. This is kind of they're skilled, but they're very specific, like cooks, maintenance, cleaning people, stuff like that maintain your home base. They talk about mobile home bases such as the wagon or ships. They talk about stationary home bases such as castles or taverns. There's even stuff covered, so if you want your players to eventually go, we have a castle, but we also want an airship, they can have both. You just add the costs together to maintain both, but you have the same set staff. You can hire more than that using the basic stuff in the player's handbook, the stuff that seemed kind of lacking of there's just skilled and unskilled hirelings. This beefs it up just enough where between this and that, you have all the followers you need. Now, I'm also supposed to be getting the D&D Essentials kit in any day now. I'm going to be doing a review on that. That has more followers rules. And when I do that, I'll probably talk about whether or not it works just combining it with this. But even without that, you have everything you need to have guilds. You have everything you need to be nobility and run strongholds and followers types games with first-party content. That's huge. On top of that, there's an adventure in here that goes from level 1 to level 6. And yes, the adventure is very Acquisitions Incorporated. You could file the names off of everything, make it more generic, but at that point, you're basically writing your own adventure. If you don't care about that, that's about 200 pages of this book. It's about half the book. It's not super thick, but it is a good book. However, really, the entire other half of the book, you can use. You can use the monster stats. Yes, it has stats of all the members of Acquisitions Incorporated. That's like 3 pages of this book. There's a lot of flavor text in here. That's really good flavor text if you like Acquisitions Incorporated. But when I look at the value of a book that I'm purchasing, the flavor text is nice, but what's in it is what matters to me. The stuff I can use in my games. And I can use this. Like I said, I'm going to be using this tomorrow. Where my players are in a situation right now where they're currently fighting the head of an evil cult that got turned into a half-dragon. Things went sideways. They're only level 2. So they're really on the ropes. They're in the middle of this fight that took almost all of last week's session. They're in this week's session. I already know how things are going. That they can either defeat this cultist or join this cultist. But if they defeat him, this is kind of warping and entangling into my rewrite of Dragon Heist, mainly because they went off the rails, where they can get Volo's tavern. We're in our own setting, not Forgotten Realms, so it wasn't Volo that gave them the quest. But they could get that tavern from Dragon Heist. I can use this book. They're also going to be offered, because the person who actually hired them was the noble in charge of the region, a keep out in the wildlands. I can use this book. If they decide to take the half-dragon's offer and work with him, they're going to be rebuilding the cult. And it's going to become a villain campaign, because they're a group that can kind of tread that line. Guess what? I can use this book. I have 3 different routes my campaign can go right now, and all of them can use what's in this book, just taking Acquisitions Incorporated off of it, not calling it a franchise, calling it a mercenaries guild, calling it nobility, calling it a cult. It all works. And it's all real simple and real easy to grasp, and there's a lot of great stuff in there. On top of that, since we're getting into it, there is a lot of stuff there's an entire chapter dedicated to why your character would join Acquisitions Incorporated. Which, again, office humor, why would they be in, like, a corporation and a business as a barbarian, and there's tables and ideas and stuff. That is, if you don't want the, like, office politics sides of things, not super useful. But again, you're mainly paying for the guild stuff, because I'm just going to call Acquisitions Incorporated guild. For the guild building stuff, for the ability to run and manage people and followers and have regions that grow, and you have more responsibility of more land you're controlling. All of that's in here. Now here comes the final thing, the price. The back of this book says it's $50. At the bookstore I was going to buy this day of, it was $50. I decided to wait 2 days because I could buy it from Target for $35. I think it's a good purchase for $35. I don't think it's worth $50. If you're a Fantasy Grounds user, you can get the Fantasy Grounds module for $30. And that's going to have all the tables and the crunch for running the guilds. In fact, I bought that ahead of time because I didn't know if the book was going to be in. I want to get most of my reading out of the way. Around $30 is a good price for this. Really good. Because I might repurpose that adventure. It's a real big adventure. It goes level 1 to 6. That's actually one more level than Dragon Heist. It's a mini campaign in here. The mechanics are really good. The mechanics are really solid. And I don't hate Acquisitions Incorporated. I haven't been following the C Team, but I loved the old pack shows. I've kind of drifted off and not keeping up with them because I'm so busy with this. But I enjoy Acquisitions Incorporated. I'm in on some of the in-jokes. But I don't think you need to be in on all the jokes to get use out of this book. There's a lot of things you can do with it, as long as you're willing to reskin a few things and get a little flexible. It's not for the super gritty, we're incredibly serious games, even reusing it. You might be able to take some of it, but as long as you're in a more lighthearted D&D game, it's going to be a book for you. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.